Hey everyone, Carl with Littleroot Lessons bringing you a deep dive on Glastrier Trick Room. This is a very powerful combo ever since Glastrier kind of just got placed into the format. So we're going to cover Glastrier in specific, and then probably look at some of the Trick Room setters that go along with it, Dusclops and P2 specifically. If you like what you see, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications for when new videos go live. I know I mentioned last episode about the Rumble, and it probably went off without a hitch. Make sure to sign up for the LRQ, which is Saturday, May 15th, starting at 10 a.m. Central Daylight Time. You have to be part of the Discord to join, so find the Discord link down below, click on it, follow it. There'll be a sign-up page, a sign-up form in the announcements tab of our Discord server, and go ahead and click on that. There is a $5 entry fee, so if you're looking for something with a little bit of a high roller cash payout event, this is probably the event for you. Winner automatically qualifies for our Littleroot Invitational in the fall. And yeah, outside of that, let's get started with some Glastrier. So Glastrier is it's a weird Pokemon because it is super bulky, super powerful, but also super slow. This is pretty much what every Trick Room team wants on its team. Something that is super duper slow, has great bulk, and has a very high attack stat. I think Glastrier is probably the premier Trick Room sweeper right now, just because of its insane defenses and its 145 base attack stat. So the overall archetype of the team is usually Glastrier plus Trick Room Setter, maybe some other Trick Room supports to make a hard Trick Room team, or maybe it's just slapped onto the end of an already fast team to kind of just supplement what it's already doing. Fast teams tend to have a harder time with Trick Room, so Pokemon like Glastrier and Porygon 2 work really, really well on those teams as an answer to opposing Trick Room teams. Looking over the history of Glastrier, it's been a format staple ever since its inception in Series 7. Not going to sugarcoat it, Glastrier is probably one of the most busted Pokemon in the game. It's very bulky, it has a very high attack stat, it has been played on many different types of teams. We'll cover Double Horse in specific next week. But for now, Glastrier, let's just say Glastrier has put its foot everywhere and it's made its presence known by everyone. Glastrier is very good at taking over games and was very good at just being a nuisance in Series 7, and it's going to probably stay that way all the way up through Series 9. Even though like Intimidate's super popular and Will-O-Wisp, there's ways that Glastrier gets around that. Specifically, its ability Chilling Day is essentially a Moxie boost whenever it gets a knockout, so it kind of just counters that Intimidate. You can give it White Herb to kind of counter that as well. So there's so many things that Glastrier just does for a team, and so many ways that it can just beat the things that counter it. Common partners for Glastrier's Trick Room specifically, of course, Dusclops and P2 are automatic entries in this section. Dusclops being the most common one with weakness policy, Porygon 2 being the most common one with like a Life Orb and Assault Vest sets, things that Glastrier doesn't normally carry as often, but has the format developed, has become more popular. Other common partners are things like Tapu Fini, Landorus, Regieleki, Urshifu, Incineroar. All of these Pokemon, they may not look like good Trick Room mons, but because Glastrier and Porygon 2 Dusclops kind of just slot on the teams, it makes sense that the top 5 or 6 Pokemon in the format are all common partners for Glastrier. Moves for Glastrier are pretty much set in stone. You can swap Heavy Slam and Iron Head interchangeably, Smart Strike interchangeably here. They both kind of just do the same thing. High Horsepower, Icicle Crash, Close Combat, Protect, these are usually what you see for a weakness policy set. Sometimes on Lumberry sets you see Swords Dance, because a lot of times if they spend the turn to Will-O-Wisp you got to do the Swords Dance and you're no longer burnt. So it's a win-win there. When you play Assault Vest sets, you kind of just add in that Steel type coverage just so you can get defense boosts and things like that. Looking over at common items, Assault Vest right now is the most common, Life Orb is second most. Weakness Policy is kind of fallen out of favor just because everyone expects it, so it's not as much of a hidden thing, and no one's going to usually proc it for you anymore, so it's a lot of self-procking, which kind of just wastes a turn of a Pokemon. And in this format, every turn is important. Lumberry and White Herb are a little bit more niche, but like I said, Lumberry is usually paired with Swords Dance. White Herb's there just to kind of counteract the first Intimidate that ever comes out for it, so that way you're getting max damage off. I know there's Glastrier sets that can pick up Incineroars after a White Herb reset. So if you get to neutral and then you get to take out the Incineroar, you removed the Intimidate and you get to go to +1. It's just a win-win. Looking at the movesets for Glastrier, we've got two different sets here. We have a Life Orb set and a Weakness Policy set. Both are very, very, very close in their move choices. The Life Orb set isn't as worried about surviving special attacks because Porygon 2 usually carries Eerie Impulse. So you get to play Heavy Slam or Smart Strike or whatever Steel type move you want into that slot so you can get Defense Boost instead. The Porygon 2 also kind of just like supports it by having Tri-Attack. Tri-Attack can afflict either freeze, burn, or paralysis to your opponent, so that kind of just like overall hacks, as we are going to call it here, can definitely help Glastrier just stay in control. The second set here is a Weakness Policy set, where Dusclops will use Rock Tomb to proc the Weakness Policy on Glastrier and lower its speed so it becomes the slowest thing in Trick Room. This was a common Series 7 trick where you would hit Rock Tomb, use Rock Tomb on your Glastrier, and then you would underspeed Torkoal. So then you get to pick up the KO on Torkoal, and Torkoal is no longer a threat. This one really just wants to deal as much damage as possible and wants that special attack boost, special defense boost. So you want the high horsepower and then Icicle Crash, close combat to boost your attack if you ever get intimidated. And then Dusclops, opposite of Porygon 2, carries Will-O-Wisp, which weakens physical attackers, so you don't have to worry about getting those defense boosts as often. Glastrier, building with it is tricky because it's very easy to just kind of just push onto teams. Like we saw with its common partners, a lot of the common partners are just the top 6 or 7 Pokemon in the format. You kind of can just push it into any kind of team and it kind of fits pretty well. If you're looking at building hard Trick Room teams, it's not hard to do that either. Things like Sunroom are very commonly running Glastrier as their Trick Room sweeper, so you can kind of just slap Torkoal, slap Venusaur, and then push Glastrier and P2 or Glastrier and Dusclops together, and it all kind of just fits together. One of the things you got to watch out for, though, is if they try to burn your Glastrier or try to just intimidate spam you. Having ways to prevent burn, having ways to remove stat drops, usually very, very good. It's kind of counterintuitive for Dusclops to carry Haze because a lot of the times the Dusclops set, the Dusclops pairing usually wants to play Weakness Policy. So it's a fine line you have to walk of when is Haze the correct move to click. Usually it's after your policy's already procced, if they've lowered you down to to neutral again, or have just kind of messed around and gotten bulked up themselves. Clicking Haze there just so you can pick up KOs is probably fine. Tapu Fini, Misty Terrain is a very good option to have on your team too, just to prevent Will-O-Wisp. Will-O-Wisp, Paralysis, Sleep, these are all things that plague most Glastriers, and it's good to just have an option to kind of beat it, and the aforementioned Lumberry. If you're looking to play it with a Trick Room counter mode on your team, looking ways to support it out Trick Room will be a bonus. There are certain EV spreads that you can tweak around and outspeed certain Pokemon because you're low speed, you're not going to outspeed a bunch of things. Amoonguss is one that comes to mind where it's like Amoonguss speed ties you, so it becomes a speed creep game of how close can I get to being just above Amoonguss, but how fast is their Amoonguss and things like that. I know timid, fast Amoonguss is becoming a popular thing just to avoid the specific speed ties and things like that. And like I mentioned, there's double horse Glastrier teams. We'll get more in depth on those next week. They have a lot of things going on and there's a lot of moving parts. It's too much for this episode to kind of cover. Beating Glastrier is like I mentioned earlier, is usually done by either Intimidate spam or burning it. Being able to lower its attack, reduce its damage output is how you're going to beat it a lot of the time. The common intimidator for it is Incineroar because it can resist max hailstorm. However, they usually carry Quake and Knuckle, so Incineroar is not actually safe there. Landorus is just a no-go. You do not want to bring Landorus anywhere close to their Glastrier. You will not survive a hailstorm even after Intimidate, so just don't even try. If the Dynamax is over, or Trick Room is done and you want to try to double into it, you can try to do that. This is more of a last resort option. I don't recommend it. A lot of the times you want to just kind of chip it down, and then just try to take it out with a very powerful move. If you're looking for a specific Pokemon to kind of beat up Glastrier, Rotom Heat is a very good option. Notably, Glastrier doesn't get real good rock type coverage. I think it doesn't get any rock type coverage, if I remember correctly. So it actually has no way to hit Rotom Heat super effectively. You resist Steel, you resist, you're immune to ground with Levitate, you resist Icicle Crash, you take neutral damage from close combat, but they're lowering their special defense if they do that. And Max Knuckle isn't all that powerful, so a Dynamax Rotom Heat in front of a Glastrier can usually clean up Glastrier pretty well. So what have we learned about Glastrier today? Other than being just an overall nuisance and very, very powerful, it's very hard to beat up, just like on a 1v1 or a 2v2. It can kind of just look other Pokemon in the face and kind of just sit there and blow you up. If it gets a Trick Room up, good luck. It's very hard to take down without getting some kind of status or Intimidate spam up on it. And even outside of Trick Room, it can take over games and just be a problem. But even though it's a Herculean task, if you properly plan for it, it's just like any other Pokemon. If you know what you're looking for and know how to beat it, you can usually get around it, and don't fret too much over it. Well, that being said, I want to thank everyone for hanging out and watching today. Make sure to follow the Discord link down below to go sign up for the LRQ and just hang out with Carter and myself. Make sure to go and leave a comment down below who you want to see me cover next week. I know I've talked about Double Horse and Spectrier a lot these past couple videos. Those are coming up. Those are coming down the pipeline. Don't worry. We'll get to them in a minute. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications for when a new video goes live. We put videos out every day. The Pokemon Snap playthrough has been great. We had a really good podcast this week, so super excited to see what you all keep coming back for later on. So have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're at in the world, and we will see you all next week. Bye, guys.